Buck movement in November is directly impacted by the number of does in estrus. We see the best mature buck activity before and after the apex of the breeding period. Each day the hunting is getting better or worse, starting the ticking clock on our best opportunities. With this in mind, November 2nd finds team member Collins Marine set up in one of his favorite stand locations.
Welcome back to Midwest Whitetail. It is November 2nd, and I'm back here in a stand that I'm very familiar with. This is actually where Caleb and I came in and I killed the old 9 last year. Back on Caleb's home farm this morning, by myself, self-filming. He's got some work to do this morning, hoping he can maybe get out with me this afternoon, but we'll see. It is a much different day than yesterday. Yesterday it was blowing 25 miles an hour all day out of the northwest. And this morning it is dead still with a light southwest wind, which is perfect for this stand, blowing it right down into this creek. We'll see. It is cold this morning too. It's about 23 degrees and pretty high pressure, so deer should be up on their feet. Hopefully we can get some of those bucks cruising this morning. It's sweet November. It's finally here, and I can't wait. So we're going to sit tight and see what happens this morning. Alright guys, it's about 9 o'clock and it's been a very eventful morning. Another 8-point stud 8. He's not a deer that I recognize anyway. I don't believe Caleb knows who he is either. He looked mature in person. The first look I got at him was kind of gonna, hopefully he comes back in. He was chasing does all over. I threw a few snort wheezes at him, and one time I think I might have had him interested, and then unfortunately another buck showed up on the hill and he went kind of ran him off. But hopefully I get another look at that buck, because he was nice. He was very nice. I'm gonna sit for a few more hours and maybe go back, charge a couple batteries, get a bite to eat, and I'll be right back here. And the action is definitely picking up, so the wind is also picking up, but I don't think that'll hurt anything. We're pretty deep down here in the bottom, so it's been a fun one so far.
Collins isn't the only team member hunting. 30 miles to the southeast, Mike Reed is back on the river farm.
Morning. It is November 2nd. We have another beautiful, cold, high-pressure day. Bluebird skies. Jason and I are down at the River Bottom Farm. We are at the head of the slough. It's at the neck of the peninsula, and I can actually see to the river on both sides. It's about 200 yards this direction, about 150 yards this direction. primary targets on this farm are Merino and Dak. And I pulled cards yesterday, midday, and Merino is finally back on camera. He's on the edge of the farm, and he was here, for one series of pictures on the 28th in the middle of the night, and then one series of pictures on the 29th, right at last light. He's been gone or off cameras for 26 days, so it's pretty cool to, get some pictures and know he's alive. He knows there's a lot of does in here, and I imagine he's going to be spending some time in here the next couple of weeks. Dak also has been more spotty this last week as compared to what he was 2 weeks ago. He's off harassing does somewhere else, and I imagine he'll end up back in here at some point. Anyway, it's already almost 9 o'clock. We hadn't had time to do an interview. It's been the activity's been so good, but we're going to sit in here as long as we can. I imagine the buck movement cruising is going to pick up here, and we're going to keep seeing cruising bucks these next couple hours.
Mike's morning action continues, but none of the targets show. He decides to get down midday to deploy a few additional cutty-back cameras, casting a wider net with hopes of capturing Merino more frequently. "40 miles to the east of the river farm, Jared Mills is also enjoying the morning of November 2nd. Deciding to give the Big Ten a break, he heads to a different permission farm that's shown some solid buck activity.
That deer's gonna be a stud. Alright, it's 8:05. Man, I love this time of year. I love watching these bucks cruising like this. That was buck number 4. And I don't know how well you'll be able to tell in the footage. He never really got very close, but that's a big deer. It's one of the deer I had pictures of that I wanted to see. And to me, he just does not look mature. I didn't get a great look at him, so I'm not saying I wouldn't have shot him, but I'm leaning towards passing him, but I did want to try to get him in here for a better look. No history obviously on this property or anything, so I don't know the age, but he didn't have that mature look to him when I looked at his body and his face walking through there. Man, if he is a young deer, he has incredible potential. Really good looking buck. But so far it's been a great November morning.
Jared's hunt wraps up without any further encounters, ending the sit. 35 miles to the west, Collins is finishing up his midday break, heading back to the same stand, hoping to lay eyes on the buck from the morning.
I'm back down here on Caleb's home farm tonight. This actually, what we've noticed in the past, this little pasture, especially when it's warm like today, a lot of times these does and bucks will come in here and graze, so it almost acts as like a food plot in transition to these bedding areas / feeding. So got high hopes tonight. I actually hunted here this morning and encountered a new buck that me and Caleb don't know that we have any history with him. I'm not exactly sure on his age, but he looks to be a shooter. He's an awesome, just a big, massive, heavy, long-beamed 8-point. If I get a chance at him tonight, I'm probably going to take him. I took a break, got some batteries charged, and back in here tonight, and looking forward to it. It's pretty warm, but it's November 2nd, and we got to be in the tree. Never know what can happen, but this wind is supposed to die down here in the next hour or two, so hopefully towards dark we get some of these does that actually went back into these bedding areas this morning. Hopefully they'll feed their way back out, work their way out through this transition out to the ag fields, and hopefully they'll have some bucks in tow. So stick with us, it should be a pretty fun night. Well, guys, just had an awesome encounter with that 8-point I saw this morning. Cruising just like we wanted him to, almost deja vu to when I had that encounter with the old 9 last year and shot him. He ended up coming in, and I'm not sure what happened. I thought I was on him perfect. I'd pushed record. Well, I shot. Missed him. Luckily, I missed him. This is first time I've ever been happy I missed a deer. And so I got back up to the camera and it wasn't recording, and I was like, oh no. He didn't know what was going on, and he was still bristled up the whole time, but I think he might have seen this other little buck down here and decided to go after him. But after that fact, I was looking for my arrow down there. I noticed there's a few little tiny limbs that I didn't notice were there, and apparently I nicked one of those because you can see my arrow. It's at an angle, like completely sideways with the dirt. So it hit one of these limbs on the way down. You can see where it nicked off. Hopefully he'll come back through. He ended up going back down to this south bedding area. He didn't seem too spooked, but we shall see. Beautiful night. The deer are definitely starting to move a little bit, so maybe we'll get one of these other mature deer to come through here and get another crack at one. But it's been an awesome November 2nd.
All Collins can do now is stick out the evening and hope for redemption. Back to the southeast, Mike is heading in for the afternoon hunt.
We've moved on to my new parcel that's adjacent to Jared and I's piece. Jared came down this afternoon. He's in after Merino. Fingers crossed he at least has an encounter with him. It'd be even better if he could put an arrow in him. I've moved, I'm probably 375 yards. I tried to measure earlier on my map from where I was this morning. So all the deer that were filtering back into the peninsula, into the south end, came from this area. We should be able to see some cruising right here. We can see a lot of country. As the evening fades, we should get deer moving out of the thicket towards the corn, and hopefully we'll get some bucks cruising back and forth between the bedding areas. I did have Dak on 3 cameras on this end of this parcel, so he certainly seems to be coming more out of the peninsula this direction than to the north, like in Marino's direction. So there's certainly a chance he could show up right here, and he'll be my primary target this afternoon.
Mike experiences solid movement, but thus far, Dak is a no-show. Back with Collins, his quest for redemption is beginning to take shape.
Freaking double lunged him, baby. Yes. He's down. He's down. Yes. Yes. I cannot believe that just happened. I missed that deer an hour ago. He was been chasing does around here all night. Well, he just came back in on does. He's been in and out, driving me nuts. Had another nice 10-point coming. Bucks are just chasing does everywhere. Oh, sweet November, baby. Oh, he's down in the field, I'm pretty sure. I just double lunged him. I gotta call Caleb. Jeez.
That's a stud.
Oh my goodness. He had that inside. I didn't even see that or all that.
Oh God.
Jeez.
You shot a hammer.
All right, guys. It's the next morning. We wanted to bring him out here to get some better light on him, do him a little justice. And I'm still in shock of what happened last night. You know, that was a textbook rut hunt right there. I haven't had a hunt like that in a long time, so it was pretty refreshing to see that. But I just want to talk a little bit about why this stand that we hunted is so good and bulletproof. So Caleb and I, we love calling it deer. And last year I shot the old 9 out of that same stand. We talked a little bit about it then, but the way that stand sets up is we have a big creek bottom right behind us, and it kind of drops off to some lower ground. And these deer, when they're cruising the CRP out in front, they have to come check that out because they can't see down below that bottom. So they hear a grunt, we snort wheeze at them, they figure there's a buck down there. And that just gets them to come to us, but they can't get downwind of us, which is the bulletproofness of this. Every time we call it deer on this one, they come right to the stand. What a hunt this was. Like I said, textbook rut hunt. You can't ask for more than that. I gotta thank Caleb and his dad for letting me go in there and hunt. I'm just so thankful. It's not very often that you get 2 opportunities at a deer like this, and just the fact that it happened in the same day is kind of unbelievable. So I just can't thank those guys enough for letting me go in there and get it done like this. And thank you for Caleb for coming and helping with the recovery and everything. And you know, this is a time of year that we love, and I can't wait to hop behind the camera and film Caleb full time now, and hopefully we can get after some of these other mature deer that we got on our hit list. And it's time. Sweet November is here, and we're gonna be hitting it hard.
186 miles to the east of Collins, team members Mark Robinson and Justin Lindemann have also been grinding out an all-day sit. If you remember, it was only 5 days prior that Mark killed a great buck out of the garden shed on Justin's farm. Now, the roles are reversed, and Justin is looking to punch a tag on Mark's farm. The peak of their action came at sunrise, when Justin passes a shooter buck due to a lack of camera light. The rest of their day has been slow, but the experienced hunters know that it only takes a moment for things to change in the month of November.
Well, it's about 2:30. We decided to stay on Mark's farm. We haven't had much action since about noon. Had one small buck go down to the watering hole down there, and then the coyote came through, but other than that, it's been pretty slow. Our hopes are pretty high for tonight. The wind's supposed to steadily die down, and obviously it's still blowing 18-20 mile an hour. It's been quite a ride in this tree all day, so we will see what happens, but we're going to hope for the best. We waited all day for that. I can't believe that just happened. Oh my gosh. Mark and I decided at noon today. We saw him. We had him at 15 yards this morning. And we didn't have the camera light to shoot him. And we at noon today we decided to stick it out because we thought he was somewhere around here. All of a sudden I look over and Mark's like, here he comes. Well, he came on the wrong path and I couldn't get a shot from here. He came over to the right and I couldn't get him stopped. And we literally had to grunt him back a couple times. We turned him around. He came back and I'm 99% sure he just went down there, didn't he? Oh my gosh. I can't believe that just happened. Wow. That's a big buck. That's a big buck.
Alright, well, we got him tagged, drug out. And again, you know, bucks like these, it takes a lot of hard work on your farm. You know, Mark has been doing timber stand improvement on this farm. He had it logged last year. He spent all summer doing TSI stuff in here, you know, just like at my place where Mark shot the buck. You know, I took down all those trees and put that food plot in, and it's just, it pays off. Hard work pays off, and you know, you get to get bucks like this. I mean, this is a buck of a lifetime. Big mature, I don't even know how many points. 10, 11 pointer. I mean, he's a nice deer, no doubt. So again, I want to thank Mark's family, my family, all our friends for helping out with all the stuff we do on this. And we'll get back at the stand as soon as we can. Thanks for watching Midwest Whitetail, the Heartland.
Mark and Justin aren't the only team members hunting in Illinois on the evening of November 2nd. 100 miles to the north, Justin Camps is also on stand.
We just had a buck come through that we call the birthday buck. And it's a buck that I filmed back in August, I think, in summer in Velvet. Absolute stud of a deer, and I think he's mature, but he is on the do not shoot list per our father. So my oldest brother could have got him Friday night, and he just came through at 20 yards. Wow, what a deer. I'm still shaking, but an hour into the sit, and a big mature deer on his feet.
Bucks are just chasing does everywhere. Oh, sweet November, baby.
And I pulled cards yesterday, midday, and Marino is finally back on camera. He knows there's a lot of does in here, and I imagine he's going to be spending some time in here the next couple of weeks.
I think during these next few days with the warmer weather, the mornings are going to be the best bet. So we'll primarily focus on that. I'm sure we'll make plenty of hunts in the next week, though. I'm ready to put a buck on the ground.
I can't believe that just happened. Wow, that's a big buck. That's a big buck.
Collins Marine's hunt for the split-browed bruiser shows us that against all odds, anything is possible in the month of November. And Justin's discipline to stick it out all day paid off in a big way, as he tags one of his best bucks to date, continuing the banner season for himself and Mark. Jared Mills made a move on Marino, but the hunt yielded nothing to speak of. Regardless, spirits are high that the legend is back on the farm, if only for a short time. Lee Abraham went all in, hanging a stand right in the core bedding area overlooking the camera GQ was on the previous day. An action-packed evening follows, but the buck is a no-show, presumably locked down with the doe he was following. Now, with his first vacation over, Lee must patiently wait until the second half of the month to resume his quest for the Iowa Giant. The roller coaster of drama is finally here, filled with the ups and downs of any good story. Now we must decide how much of our hand to show, just enough to put ourselves in the game, but not so much that we ruin our chances until the time is right. Increasingly, we decide the time is now. A month ago, we were dreaming of bucks trailing does through the hardwoods, the crunching of dry leaves beneath the chase, but now those dreams are reality. Anxiously, we all wait for tomorrow, and we can only hope that it will be just as good. Regardless of the result, we will be there, watching the woods come to life, breathing the crisp air with a sense of peace. We are living the dream. We are chasing November.